Okay, so we are recording. So welcome everyone to 18th July, 2 days before ROE. And we will be, today's agenda is to go through some of the things that Amit outlined in his last session. So last session, he just gave you a brief overview of all the things you're expected to learn. I hope you watched that session because that will really help you in your preparation for ROE. So what I will be doing is I will be going through some of those things that he mentioned in a little more depth. So I will not, for example, I will not be spending a lot of time on each of those aspects, but I will at least cover some of the essentials you will need to know in order to be successful in ROE. ROE, as I think Naren had asked, how is it going to be delivered? So what will happen is there will be this time. So we've taken some learnings from previous ROEs. Okay, so previous ROEs are not going to be fully reflection of, won't be a proper reflection of what will happen this time, because my goal and Amit's goal has always been to make this process as painless as possible for students. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but at least some of the issues that we can mitigate, we're going to try and mitigate those. Okay, so one thing we're going to do this time is we will send you the data set ahead of the ROE. Now you might think that's fantastic, but there is a caveat. The data set will be password protected. So it will be in a zip file and it will have the entire data set you will need for the ROE. This is to mitigate the problem that some people had on ROE last time, which is they could not download it. There were errors with accessing the portal, etc., etc. So to avoid all those issues, we will give you the data set ahead of time. It'll be in a zip file. It'll be password protected. And on ROE day, at the time of ROE gets opened up, you will receive the password and you just use the password and open up the data set and start working on it. So that's the first thing. Yes, Abhishek, go ahead. What did you want to ask?
Sir, where we will get this password means on our email ID or somewhere else?
So we have not completely firmed up how we are going to deliver the password. One thing for sure is it will be through the ROE portal itself. That's one place it will definitely be there. The next thing is we have planned to have it also in the discourse. So in case you can't find it somewhere, then we'll try and send it there as well. And thirdly, we might do a system-wide email that also sends you the password. So we will do that in as many ways as possible, but it will be right at very close to when ROE supposed to start at 8 o'clock on the 20th, 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. And what about zip file? You said you will send on same day
No,
when.
no. So the zip file will be sent at least a day before. Initially, the instructors wanted to only send it on the morning of the 20th, but so we advocated that it would be better to send it the day before in case students had any issues with receiving it. One of the things that we haven't firmed up, but we'll have to talk with the backend team about, is we want to send the zip file with a checksum as well. So in case, because sometimes, files, large files, when you download them, there can be errors in them, right? And
Yeah.
we want to make sure that students have received a clean, or not a clean, but a copy of the file that is fully perfect. So maybe giving the checksum along with the file to help students verify that the file is of the correct type and there are no errors in the file and that sort of thing. So I'm not sure about the checksum bit. That's what we are hoping we'll be able to deliver.
So you
Um,
send on email side, right?
Sorry?
You will send this zip file on email.
It will be accessible through several methods. One is we might send it through email, but we'll also post a link on it in Discourse with it pinned to the top. Um, and that's what are some of the ways we'll make it accessible.
I would request you, Carlton.
A drive, sorry, a drive link might be available as well. We haven't firmed up that.
Okay, okay. If possible, then please send on email because regularly we check the emails in Discourse forum. We are not too regular as compared to on email. So if it will come on email, that will be really good for us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll try and make sure that we can distribute it as widely as possible.
Okay, 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 Carlton.
Carlton,
Yeah. Go ahead.
what we have to do with this zip file? We have
So
to
when we
extract
will,
and keep
yeah.
it, or how useful it is? I am not able to visualize it.
Okay. So we will be sending. Okay. So what will happen is there will be one file that will be sent to all students. Okay. This file is called a zip file. So a zip file contains many other files inside it. So you will get a file that's been compressed and packaged into what's called a zip format. And then your job is to be able to, once you get the password, you won't be able to extract it immediately. You'll have to wait for the password, and the password will be released on at the time of ROE, which is at 8 o'clock on 20th. So when you receive the password, then you extract the zip file, and from that zip file, you'll get many other files, which will be your data sets that you will be working on. So to give you an idea, last term, there were two major data sets. One was a whole bunch of, I think it was like 50 XML files, and there was some PDF files as well. So those were the data sets that were available, but students had to download them individually last time from, I think it was a Google Drive or something, and there were issues with that. So that's why this time we have decided to send everyone the file ahead of time in one big, not a very big zip file, but in a zip file. And what you will have to do is on your system, two things you have to make sure. A, you can extract zip files, okay? So make sure you've got some software that can do that. I can't give very technical guidance on that because it will vary from operating system to operating system. So like Windows 11 generally is able to handle zip files without issues. But my suggestion is to use, there is a package called 7-zip, which is also excellent. It's an open source software. There's no ads and telemetry in there. And it's able to extract zip files. It's very easy and convenient to use. It can open password protected files as well. And so I would suggest using that. If you're on Mac OS with the M chip, the ARM Mac OS, I've found that the best thing to do is have a package manager like Homebrew and install something called, I think it's called P7-zip. And if you install that, play around with it. Don't wait till ROE starts to figure out how it works. Just download create an archive yourself, a zip archive, and make sure you know how to extract it and how on your Mac OS. On Linux, it's pretty straightforward. There's gunzip. Again, there's a lot of documentation on how to do that. So make sure you're familiar with whichever platform you're on. That's the thing we are not going to really teach. At this stage in your diploma, you should really be, and your aspiring data scientist is something we expect students to be able to do. Okay. Any more questions about how it's going to be delivered? Okay, Abhishek, go ahead.
Carlton, I have talked with a lot of seniors. Even they have very good CGPA, maybe 8.5. But after ROE and every there's a lot of questions, and you don't have enough time to solve. So a lot of seniors are saying this thing. So is it right, or how we can handle it? Is there any suggestion from your side?
Okay, so I'm not sure if you were clear to everyone, because on my side I couldn't. You broke up quite a lot. But if I understood your question, you've talked to a lot of seniors and they said there's too many questions and not enough time. Is that the gist
Yeah,
of it?
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
that's absolutely true. Um, and if you want to know the reasoning for it, why, it's written in the course introduction by Anand himself. That this is exactly the purpose of ROE. That is to really challenge you and to make you. Um, uh, I mean, there's a lot of things he has explained. There's a discourse post on it as well. So he has explained in there thoroughly, and so I'm not going to go over all those reasons why. But it is correct. There will be too many questions, not enough time. And his take is if someone can actually do that, then they absolutely deserve the marks, and you would have very high standing in Anand's sight. And you may think that's of little value, but that's actually of significant value, more significant value than you realize.
That's nice. Let's see how you do it. So yeah, Carlton, I think we should start. I think you should start. Sorry.
Okay. So there was some more. Yeah, let's see. So yeah, Cyan has talked about 7-zip. Yeah. Are
No,
there
in
other?
Windows 11, directly in the folders, downloads, if I go directly, there is some extract all is there, no? That I can use, no?
Yes. So my suggestion is when you get the zip file and you extract it, put the zip file in a folder where you're only going to keep all your ROE stuff, so that there's no confusion about where the files are or anything of that sort. So make sure that you're working in a nice folder that you've set up exclusively for the work of ROE. So in there, you want to collect all the snippets of code that you have learned over the weeks that are available in the various Jupyter notebooks that are there from week 2 to week 5. That was a brilliant suggestion by Amit. I strongly recommend you do that, but don't just copy paste the cells. Like he had said in the previous session, what you have to do is each notebook, see what you actually need from them that's useful, because there's a lot of extraneous stuff in there that's not useful, and make sure you understand how to use those snippets of code. So for example, if it's like, for example, the BBC weather locator service, or whether it's the nominatim, make sure you've written some nice clean functions and put some little comments on there so that you're able to locate these snippets very quickly. Again, the best thing for this is to use Jupyter Notebook or VS Code. You can use Colab, there's no restriction. In fact, you can use any tool under the sun, okay? ROE is not restricted in what tool you use. You can use, if you've got access to some supercomputing facility, because you're blessed with those resources, great, no problem. But the key is, the trick is you're going to have to able to locate the solution to the problems you'll encounter. So what are the problems you're going to encounter? First of all, you're going to be able to have to be able to scrape. That's always been the case. So there will be perhaps some HTML files, maybe some XML files, maybe some PDF files, whatever it is, you have to know how to scrape them. So make sure you're very comfortable with that. Make sure you have some ready-made functions to deal with these issues. Put those snippets in code, snippets of code ready. I mean, that's the beauty of ROE, right? It's not like your OPPs. OPPs, you don't get any external help. You have to somehow survive it with whatever knowledge you can store in your head. Here, it's nothing like that. Here, you're able to, I mean, for lack of a better word, cheat. Okay, in the sense, you have taken the effort, collected all the resources, so that when it comes time, and that's the speed is the key. If you can quickly extract, because that's the first challenge you'll face. You'll get a data set, you have to extract the information out of it. Once you extract, so that extraction part, usually that's where I'd say 70, or let's say, to be on the conservative, say 50% of the students fail at this stage itself, the extraction part. So 50% of students don't even get any marks. Okay. So make sure you're comfortable with extraction, whatever format it is in, whether it's in HTML, whether it's XML, whether it's using APIs, whether it is a database file, a Parquet file, whatever format it is, make sure you have the tools ready as a snippet of code that you can use straight away. Just plug and play. Maybe you have to do a little bit of tweaking, but make sure you can extract information. What's the next step? The next step in an ROE is to keep the whatever you've extracted. It's got to be something you have to be able to parse through very easily. What do I mean by parse? So there will be some questions that will be asked, okay, and that will be just like a graded assignment. There will be some questions that are asked, and it will tell you, okay, this is this. So let's say, for example, we are looking at a database of San Francisco restaurants, okay. So it may say something like, find all the restaurants that are within this particular area and serve French food, Okay, so these words, they are basically filters, right? So that's what you are doing. That's the next step, being able to apply some filters, parsing through your data. So you can't, one thing I promise you, the data set will be too big for you to do it manually. So you're going to have some way to store that data you extracted in a nice format that you will be able to filter it, do some operations on it, some manipulations on it, so that you'll be able to cut the data set down to the subset that you need to work on to extract the answer. So that's another key skill that you have to make sure. So the first skill, like I said, was the extraction. Make sure you're comfortable with that. And the second skill is the parsing. Make sure you know how to drop null values, for example, or know how to get rid of some certain columns, or how to convert text into uppercase or something. All these sorts of filters, transformations. Make sure you're very comfortable with those, because no time in the ROE to think or to search. Um, of course, in ChatGPT will be very helpful. It's very quick in answering those quick questions where you're just a little bit stuck. 100% the instructor wants, not, the professor wants you to use ChatGPT, use AI tools, so that you can quickly get to work. And then, of course, the third aspect is getting the actual answer. So to answer the question that someone asked earlier, are they MCQ type? So this time, in the interest of student sanity and to help with any mitigating any backend issues, they will be MCQ type. So we advocated that that would be probably the least trouble-free method of doing it. However, with the MCQs, I believe they are structured in a way so that you can't guess the answer. So it's not going to be, for example, let's say you've got a question that says, how many restaurants are going to be within this area or whatever. And if you look at the data set or the answers you're getting on your MCQ, there won't be any outliers that lets you eliminate them by examination. Okay. So they'll be very close. They'll be like maybe 4, 5, 6, 7. So you will not be able to guess it by just examining the MCQ part of it. But it will be MCQ style.
Carlton, this we are already experienced for the last 5 weeks. No, in all our graded assignments, the MCQs are all 16,148, 16,149, 16,150.
Yes. Yeah.
So there is no guessing at all possible. But we can think of probability theories.
Yes. So yeah, my
Nobody will
suggestion
get
is,
zero at least.
yeah, I mean, you'd have to be really unlucky to get zero, which brings me to the next point. If you don't know, there's no negative marking. So just guess and just put something. At least you might hopefully get like, 20% or something in ROE, okay, by pure guessing. So don't leave any answers blank. In fact, if I were you,
First thing I will do is I'll mark everything, then start working.
yes, exactly. That's logical. That's absolutely logical. That way, unless you, like I said, unless you're super unlucky, at least you'll get something out of it. And then, so hit the submit button, send in a submission, you might get something. Okay. But then with the rest of it, of course, then you'll have to work on them one by one. Okay, so let's see. Let me just go through these comments and see if I can be available on YouTube. Yes. Okay, there's some strange characters on the text over here. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, Shruti, go ahead. You wanted to ask a question.
I'm having two questions. My primary question is a very general question that the interface for the ROE is similar to that which we have seen in the OPP, or it will be like a assignment with a deadline of 45 minutes or so.
I'm not sure of the answer to that. That I'll have to get back to you, because I'll have to actually ask the backend team, because
Because
there have been some
what
changes
happens?
to,
Yeah,
yeah, because there have been some changes to portal
yeah.
recently, right?
And
So
even the OPP portal that hangs a lot frequently when you are like not using, or like there is a network fluctuation. So OPP
okay,
portal generally hangs. So I asked because I guess it's not proctored. So I asked like it's whether like a assignment interface or something like we notice while we are in the OPP, like clicking on every question, then submitting it separately, and then moving on to the next question. So there are 17. So that's why I asked what is the
Yeah.
interface. At least we should be,
Okay.
because there is no mock, I guess, as far as I know.
Yeah. There's no mock because
Yeah,
this,
so
it's really
only the
impossible to deal
interface
with mock.
confusion is there a bit of. And my second question is this: as I'm a Windows user, so like you have told the different softwares for the Linux and Mac, I just skipped out the Windows one. Can you please tell it once more which software to get friendly with, so as to
Yeah.
extract?
So yeah. So to extract the file with Windows, if you're on the latest version, you might not have any issues. But to mitigate the problem, just make sure that you like for sure 7-zip will work. 7-zip it's called, the
Okay,
number 7 and zip, and someone has posted it also in the messages as well. If you just download that package, it's open source. It's there's no ads, no tracking or anything, so it's very nice and clean software to use. Just make sure you're comfortable with it. Don't download it and then practice. Your first time using it shouldn't be on the ROE zip file. Okay, it should be.
yeah, okay,
You should just try it out before so that you're comfortable with how it works.
okay. That's why I asked, because I got a
Yeah.
bit confused. Okay, sir.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
also try to use it on some password protected archives, just so you know how it, so that you're not surprised. There's no time to be surprised in ROE. Okay.
Okay, one last confusion. The protection of the password is on the PDF or XLS file present, or it's on the zip file present.
Yeah, it's on the zip file itself.
So
The
okay,
individual files inside are not password protected.
okay. So we can like make one
Sorry.
by ourselves and then practice on it. That will be
I'm,
the like fine
I'm
option.
sorry, I didn't hear that
Okay,
last.
okay. We can make a like a sample file by ourselves and then we can just
Yeah,
get a
yeah,
friendly.
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay,
just take some few text files, put them in an
okay,
archive, password protect it, see how it feels to open it up again, so that
okay, okay.
you're not
So
surprised
yeah,
by any of it. Yeah,
got it, got it. Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
okay. Right. So, okay, I think that's Shivan. Okay, there's two people. Let me just see who's in the queue here. So Mohammed Sohail. Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, excuse me, sir. Sir, first question is this session gonna be available on YouTube after this?
Yes,
Yes,
so this
so
session
this
is
session is
recorded.
recorded. Okay.
Mohammed,
Mohammed,
could you
could
just
you just
reduce your
reduce your
speaker
speaker
volume because
volume
I can hear
because I can
myself.
hear myself? Okay, okay. And the second question was like, what should I prepare? Like, from which week's content I should go through like thoroughly, so I should like get a hand on some questions at least.
Yeah, so it's
So
week
it's
2 to
week
5.
2 to 5. Week 2 to 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
If you
So
want
we
more
can just
details,
take help from our friends also. Like, is it gonna be on like video call or something?
no,
No,
RO
no.
is open
ROE is
book.
open book.
You can take
So we can
whichever
just sit
help.
around with friends and do together. Is this possible?
I won't make
I
any
won't make
comments
any
about that,
comments about that.
but
Okay. But
open
it's
book
an open
exam.
book exam. Okay,
You're
okay.
echoing,
Echoing,
Karkin.
Karkin.
It's echoing.
So, so you were saying like about some like methods to scrape data or something we should be ready with, like like how what methods, like what files would be there, like PDF, and what files to Excel or something, like we should be ready with some Python functions, you said.
Sohail,
Sohail,
mute yourself
mute
and
yourself
ask
and
your
ask your
question.
question.
Mohammed Sohail, your um, mic needs to be muted, okay? Because when others are speaking, because we can hear ourselves through it.
Yeah, he's muted. He's muted now. You can answer his question.
Okay, great. So, so with regards to preparation, Amit has, in the last session, he gave a detailed sort of breakdown of what topics specifically you need to be good at. So I would advise watching that video. And secondly, this session will be recorded and be available later. But the only thing is, we can't guarantee you what time it's going to come out. Okay, it will be hopefully sometime tomorrow. As soon as it's done over here, we send it to the instructor, and then it's up to the instructor to do that last bit, which is pushing it to YouTube. And there was another question in there that you asked that I missed out on.
No, sir, only this. And the session you were talking about, the previous session, can you please like tell me the link or YouTube where can I watch that?
Okay, someone will probably post it for you in the message window now. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Shivanand, I think was next. Shivansh, sorry.
Yes, sir. Sorry to disturb you while you are just about to start, sir. I just wanted to request you to, well, just summarize what was taught yesterday because I couldn't be a part of yesterday's session and I didn't want to miss out on that.
Okay, I'm not going to summarize yesterday's session because it was instructor session yesterday, right? So I was not on that session, and instructor sessions are not recorded as far as I know. So I can't give you any summary about what happened yesterday. And as far as covering topics,
It was recorded, but maybe it is not published. I don't know, but it was recorded.
okay, maybe, but I'm not aware of it, so I can't comment on something I don't know about, right? But normally they are not recorded. But yesterday's might have been recorded. But if that's the case, it's again not in our hands.
It was not recorded. In fact, Dibujan said multiple times that it's not recorded.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So then,
Okay, I'm sorry. Then I saw that red and white button. I thought. Then I left the meeting. That is different. Okay, sorry, my bad.
no worries. Okay, so yeah, as far as the instructor sessions go, I don't have any control on that matter. It's between the instructors and up to the students if they want to raise it as an issue with them, that they want access to it or not. So that you'll have to make it known to them. From our end, we have made it known that students would like that, but it's again their discretion to do that or not. That's all I'm going to say about those things. With regards to getting detailed advice on what specific topics to study, I will not cover that today because that was covered in Amit's session. I advise you to watch it. And what I will do is start going through some of those things today, and perhaps give you a little hints and tips along the way that might be useful to you. So that's what I'll do today. And of course, we won't be able to cover all of it today because it's not possible to cover four weeks of intense tool usage in just 2 hours, and in fact in less than 1.5 hours. So that won't be possible. But I'll go through some of the significant, important things that might help you. Okay. Anyone else?
Thank you, sir.
Sir, is there the question will be? How many questions will be there? Like, if there is one data need to be scraped from one data set, like PDF or something, or any website. So all the questions will be linked to that only, or there will be different questions altogether.
Okay, that you'll have to discover when the ROE starts. I can't tell you how many questions will be there. I can't tell you how long it will be. I can't tell you how many data sets are there. None of those things I can tell you. But what I can tell you is it will be, more than most people can handle, unless you're very experienced and you have many years in, unless you have, let me put it this way, unless you have like something like Anand, right, who he's got like 30 years of experience in programming and dealing with data, then perhaps you'll be able to do it. So, and kudos to you if you can do it. So, but having said that, that doesn't mean it's not possible to score at least some marks. Okay. My job is to try and at least give you some hope. Okay. Because others, I'll feel bad. I want my students to be able to at least feel like, you know what, I at least had the tools available. Maybe I was not proficient enough. Maybe I haven't practiced enough, but at least I know given enough time, I could have done it. I want you guys to at least walk away with that feeling. Okay. Right. So.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, to clarify, the ROE is not for a pre-decided span of time.
So ROE, what happens is normally there is a fixed amount of time, but there can be changes in the run up to it, depending on if instructors feel that it's maybe it's too hard, or there are some mitigating issues, operational issues that are causing problems for students. So last term, for example, there was no Maduresh, it's week 2 to week 5. The so sorry, to get back to what you were asking about, the last term, what happened is there was some operational issues that were causing difficulty. So what they did is, on the fly, in real time, they decided to extend it for 15 more minutes. So that's always possible. Okay. Whereas I would go under the assumption it's for 45 minutes, but to be honest, it's not going to help you to know whether you have 45 minutes or 1.5 hours or 3 hours. The reason is they are going to design the test for it to be not possible to do all of it within that time frame. So it makes no difference. Just my really good advice to you is do the 3 things that I told you. Make sure you're comfortable with extraction in any format. Make sure you're comfortable with filtering and being able to parse through the information. And then make sure you're able to get at the exact question that's being asked. And the reason I say that third one is a skill is because it means you should be able to logically break down a question to finally get to the exact precise answer that you're looking for. It won't be like a range or something. Okay, it'll be a precise answer that you're looking for. And the way to get to that is through using a logical breakdown of questions. I think there was a discourse once where I've written about what's the process of breaking down a question, and I used that particular project question as an example. How do you break down a question to finally reach the goal you're getting? So those 3 steps, if you practice those 3 things, you will get some marks. So that's my advice to you about that. I hope that helps you grasp what is expected.
Yes, sir. Thank you. That makes sense.
Okay. Yes, Pranjil.
Can you repeat the
Pranjil.
last? I misses out due to network connection.
Okay, so I was saying there are 3 main aspects to the ROE. First, making sure that you can extract the information as quickly as possible without spending a lot of time on it. That's where most students actually fail. Second is then parsing the information, being very quick to be able to condense the data set down to the subset that you are actually interested in, because that's what your question deals with. So your question almost inevitably always deals with some subset of that data. So being able to come down to that small set, filtering things down so that you can get there quickly. That's the second skill you need to have. And the third skill is logically breaking down a question so you can get to an answer. Because a question usually will be quite lengthy. Okay, these ROE questions can be quite lengthy. And what happens is there are many parts to it, and you have to understand the sequence. Like, what do I do first in order to get to this next part of the question? What do I do next to get to the next part of the question? And each time you will be getting closer and closer to the answer. So that way of logically breaking down questions. And we try to give this practice in project actually with the eye on ROE. We tried to frame the questions, some of the questions, so that you had to do multiple steps to actually get to your answer. And it's something similar like that you will experience in ROE, but with the time pressure on. With project you had 2 weeks. With ROE you'll have 45 minutes or maybe a little bit more depending on the situation. Okay. Great.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
So can you guys see? Oh, it says I can't see my screen. Okay. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, that's good. Right. So today the first order of business, well, not the first, but one of the many things we'll be doing. Okay. So I've already set up the virtual environment, and today I'll be using a Windows platform computer to, well, not really Windows, but WSL within Windows I'll be using to do any demonstrations today. And one of the first things I will talk about, I'll just make a new file here and call it ROE. Okay. And first thing is about let me make it a bit bigger as well so that it's a bit more clear. Okay. Is that clear?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So now and okay. So the and PDF and okay, on the DB files. Okay. I don't know how much we'll be able to cover today, but the first aspect of ROE is extraction, right? So you'll get some files in some format. It might be so one example might be in one of the files, maybe, okay, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just giving you what all things have happened in the past. So in one of the zip files, there might be a link to a site you have to go to, okay? And it might be and when it's a site, of course, you know, there's going to be HTML involved, and you have to parse through the HTML and extract the information from the HTML. So that's one possibility. Another possibility is they may give you a whole bunch of HTML files locally inside the zip. So that's also possible. They may give you XML files the same way. The last ROE, that's what they did. They gave you a whole bunch of XML files to extract. So you have to be able to do that. So can anyone tell me what would be a good tool to deal with HTML and XML files?
Is it soup?
Yeah, so that's the first thing you have to be very good at using. So I'm going to just quickly wipe. Again, it's my strong recommendation, be comfortable with Jupyter Notebooks or Visual Studio. The reason I'm saying that is if there are some so you might get a large number of files, okay? If you get a large number of files, the first thing you're going to have to do if you're working in Colab, which of course everyone has access to, you'll have to upload all those files, and that is wasted time, okay? I'm not saying you shouldn't do that or you can't do that. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just giving you advice, okay? Be comfortable in using, and I've kept saying this throughout every TA session. I think no one has seen me use Colab so far, okay, in all the TA sessions. There's a reason for that. It's not that we can't use Colab, but for ROE, speed is key, okay? So be comfortable using VS Code, be comfortable using Jupyter Notebooks. It will really help you, okay? So.
But Colab provides Gemini AI, which helps a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it has Gemini, but even in VS Code, there is something called
AWS, I think. About
so
Amazon Web Services, yeah. It helps in
so
creating.
Yeah. So in VS Code, they have something called Codium. It's an extension you can use. I don't have it on this Windows machine, but it's spelled Codeium. Okay, and it is just as good as any other AI in terms of coding. Okay, I'll put it in the chat here. Codium. Okay, make sure you spell it correctly. Okay, because there are other spellings, and that's not the app you're looking for or the extension you're looking for in VS Code. So let me see if I can find it here because I've not installed it here. So Podium. So it's this one, okay? It looks like this, nice little green window with some dots in there. This is really very, very good. I mean, you can see there are 1,229 reviews and it's 5 out of 5, Okay, it's free to use and it's really good. Okay, of course you can use GitHub's Copilot, which is based on ChatGPT, but that's a subscription service. Or if you've got GitHub education account, you get it for free. I'm not going to discuss how you get those. You'll have to find that out on your own. I'm not going to install Codium on this today because it's a little more involved than just pressing install. It'll take you to a site. You'll have to give it some permissions, sell your soul, that sort of thing. I mean, I'm just kidding, but you'll have some terms and conditions and all that sort of thing that you have to agree to. And then you'll be able to use Codium, and it works very seamlessly in VS Code. The reason I don't have it on this machine is because I don't normally use this machine to do my work. So I don't have it on this machine today. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to just use an example file. And I want you all to make note of this resource. This is a really good resource to use, which is the documentation for Beautiful Soup. This will really help you, okay? I know this seems like something that's very simple and straightforward, but many times this is all, people just think, okay, it's simple, I understand how to do it. And then when it comes to ROE, suddenly the pressure gets to you and then you're not able to execute. So I'll just use this as an example today. It's just a HTML document, simple one. And what it is it's just got all your usual tags in there. And then what you want to do is also install, make sure. Okay, this is another thing when you use VS Code, which you don't have to use when you have Colab. You have to install the packages locally. Okay, so that's the nice thing about Colab. You don't have to worry about what packages you're installing. But here on VS Code, you would have to actually do that. So that's a one downside to it. For Beautiful Soup, again, all the instructions are given. You just follow the copy paste it and use it, and keep the notebook ready. This is again going back to what Amit said in the last session. It's a very good session. Please watch that session. Keep your notebook ready with all these things already done and ready. There's no time in OPP to do all these things. Oops. Okay, right. So then the next thing I want to do is, if I can just pull this up here real quick. Close that. Just give me 1 second, okay?
Carlton, I know you keep recommending the VS Code.
Yeah.
But is there going to be like any huge files that will take a lot of time to upload on Colab?
I can't honestly answer that question. They may, because I'll tell you, last time students had issues. That's the reason we're giving the zip file. So if you if you run into that problem, then we can't help you, right? So I'm not saying don't use Colab. Okay, if you find that you're able to do it, because I cannot divulge anything about the data set. I can't tell you it's big, it's small, how many megabytes it is. I mean, it won't be gigabytes, that's for sure. But it'll definitely be some megabytes in size. Okay, I don't know if it is 2 megabytes or it's 100 megabytes. But the reality is, when you have lots of files to upload, you're going to run into difficulties because I think, I don't know personally, because I didn't use Colab last time, but Amit said there were students, when they had to use Colab, they had to upload the file one by one by one. That takes time. They were not able to upload it all in one go. So I don't know if that situation has changed now, but I'm just giving you advice. So the decision is up to you whether you want to take that chance or not. You've got 2 days to prepare for it. Let's say 2.5 days. Okay, you've got about 2.5. Today is the 18th. Okay, so you've got 2 days to prepare for it basically, and it's not difficult to use VS Code, okay? And the other thing is, throughout your diploma, this is a very important tool you use. So if you're not comfortable with it now, at some point you're still going to have to use it, and you can't escape this. So that's why I would suggest, at least if you can, try and use it. But if you don't want to use it, you can still use Colab. There's nothing stopping you from using Colab.
So Visual Studio, actually VS Studio, I mean Visual Studio, you can it will be faster to upload the data.
Yeah, I mean VS Code runs locally on your computer, so it's immediately accessible to it. All these files are on your local computer itself.
Correct. Okay.
So there's no uploading involved, right? It's like opening a Word document. You just open it, and it's there.
Okay.
So that's the benefit.
Sir,
the other thing is with Colab. Let's say you upload a whole bunch of files. Okay. Now I'm going to teach you a skill today, which probably might not have been covered earlier. You have a whole bunch of files. You have to iterate through those whole bunch of files. How do you do it in Google Colab? You'll have to, there is some code you have to use that gives it permissions to those files, that tells, okay, take the permission, I allow you to do this. And remember, all this time is going by, okay? The seconds are going by, the minutes are going by. Whereas in VS Code, you don't have any of those permission issues. As you're iterating through the files, it just rapidly does it. Like within seconds, it'll iterate through thousands of files if you want to, right? So that's the other thing. So yeah, okay. So before I even go into soup, actually, let's do that. Let's do that iteration, because that's something you will almost certainly have to do.
Sir,
So,
sir, I have a question, sir.
yeah.
Sir, as you said, there will be large number of files. So, do we need to save them in a folder or somewhere, so that how do we access this these files through our VS Code? Because I have not used it.
Yeah. So
I'm not
I'll
from
show that.
programming background, so
Yeah. I mean, this is the irony of it, right? You're not from programming background, but tables in data science is all about being able to program. So I can't emphasize it enough. Okay. So what I want you guys to do is, okay, open up a notebook, and this is a simple example of how you iterate through files. Okay, I've got a folder here called output cards. Okay, and there are some files in here. So this is an example of what you might see. These are only 3 files, but you might have 50 files. Okay, one key skill you're going to have to learn for ROE is how do you iterate through files rapidly. Okay, so for that we use a library called OS. Yes, Shruti, go ahead.
Sir, like as I'm seeing here that you are having some HTML files as well in your environment,
Yeah.
or you can say that folder. So
Yeah.
I generally see that as I was earlier using the Colab, and that's a thing that I can't use in ROE. So we need to save that link first as a HTML page into a system, and then start scrapping, right? Or like how these HTML files came in
Yeah.
here.
So
Bit
these
of
I auto generated just as a demonstration. So let me just do this so that there's less confusion.
like any link that needs to be converted into this HTML file.
Yeah, just give me a
Because we
second
will
here.
be given the link, not the file, I guess.
It could be anything. I can't, you might be given a link. You might be given.
Okay, got it.
So there's I can't say what you'll be given, right? I don't know.
Yeah. So like I'm
And
thinking for the worst. Maybe
yeah.
we are.
Yeah. So the worst case scenario, I don't know what is the worst case scenario, but the point is, if you're processing a HTML file, it's always better to say. I mean, I won't say it's always better, but sometimes it's better to download it locally and process it. So you use
Okay.
file save as and process it. But it depends on the situation. Okay, it's situation dependent. Some ROEs that was not possible, but some ROEs it was actually very valuable. So there was an ROE where there was a cricket data set, and in order to the best way to scrape that one was people downloaded the entire HTML output and then processed it, the ones who were successful. So if you can, that's probably the best way to do it.
Okay, what?
Okay. So what I've done here is I've just created I auto-generated these files, okay, just as practice. And what I wanted to show you here is, this is an important skill, iterating through files. So here you've got, so what I've done is I've imported this library called OS. Normally I would type all this so that you can follow along, but because we are a little bit short of time, I decided that I'll just show you. It's not the best way to learn, but obviously I want to try and cover some things. So then you use this function called list dir. Okay, it means get everything in this particular folder. I want a list of all the files and directories that are in this folder. That's what this means. Okay, so you run this function, it output, you save it into a variable. What does this variable have? It basically has a list of everything that's in the directory. So this directory output cards has some files in here, but it also has some other files in here. Okay, so when you get your data set, when you extract it from a zip, there may be all kinds of stuff in it. I have no idea what's in it. Okay, there may be PDFs. Last time there were PDFs, there were XML, anything could be there. So in the same way, there can be. So I'll just put some mix of files in. Okay, and your processing requires you to deal with the HTML. So what I've done is I've said, okay, I want to process all the files, but I only want a list of all the HTML files. So what I've done, I've used this list comprehension. This is something you should have learned in Python already. Python is a prereq for this course. Okay, so if you don't know this, you got to be comfortable with for loops, list comprehension, dictionaries, all your usual things that you expect in Python. If you're not comfortable with those, you're going to really struggle with ROE. Okay, so all I've done is I've taken the output of entries. We can even have a look at this. Okay, so that we can see. So what does entries have? You notice it has all these files. Actually, that's not right. Let's try it again. Okay, that's better. So you can see it has all these files, including this san.db. But you want to only process HTML files because the next bit of code that you're going to run will deal with extracting information from these files, for example. So you don't want this in the middle of your processing aspect. So what I've done is I just said, okay, for every entry, so this is what it says, right? For every entry in entries, so this is the entries, I'm taking a single one out of it. If I'm putting a condition, what is the condition? I'm saying, okay, split this text. Okay, this is each entry in the list. Split this based on what? Split this based on this dot, because I know every file will have some dot in there for the extension, right? And you can say, okay, how many splits do you want? Only one split. And if that split has HTML in it, then those are the files I want to keep. So that's what it does. Okay, is that clear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now you got a list of files, okay, that come out of this for loop. Now you're able to parse it. So what? So if let's look at this file now. Let's see what's actually in this file. So if I go to the preview, you can see, okay, this is some person's marks card. Okay, if you go to the inspect element, or you don't even have to do that here because it's very simple. Now remember, in ROE you won't get simple things like this, but for the purpose of this demonstration, I've done it simply so that your takeaway is I should know this skill very well, like the back of my hand, so that even if it's a complex thing, I can do it. Okay, so this is a simple HTML file, and we want to parse this information. So what is the meaning of parse? I want to take this details that are in here, and remember, this could be inside some very complicated looking file. There will be many tags of nesting tags and classes and all sorts. You'll have to identify how to get to these, and I'll show that real quick in a short while. But you want to, let's assume you've extracted this. You know how to parse it, you extracted. What's the next step? The next step is you got to put it into a data frame of some sort so that you can then do some processing on it. So the next thing you will need, of course, is pandas. Be very comfortable with pandas. at least the basic functions. And here's what I've done. I've created an empty data frame. There's the empty data frame. You can see that here. So I hope you can see this clearly. I'm not going too fast or anything. So I've made some columns and I said, this is the data frame. And you can see it's empty. Now, for a second, I just want you to imagine you have already parsed the information because we have had many sessions on parsing, right? Imagine you parsed it. And once you parsed it, you have made a record, a dictionary record. This is usually best because if you think about it, every row in a data frame has unique fields. Okay, there are no repeated fields in there. Okay, that's normally how a data frame is, right? So a dictionary is an ideal thing to use when parsing. You grab one record, you put it into a dictionary object, and then what you do? Add it to the data frame. How do you add it to the data frame? There's your original data frame. There is the student you're trying to add, and use this ignore index, because what that does is it tells that this does not actually have an index in here. And so what you can do is you can just add it without any issues. And so you can see over here, it has added the record to the data frame. This looks very simple, but this is an important skill because that's effectively what you're going to be doing, right? You'll be extracting data, sticking it in a data frame, and then doing some filtering operations. This is the basis of almost every operation regarding ROE. If you can do these three things very quickly, of course, it won't be so simple as this, but if you can master this aspect of it, you've won at least half the battle. And then the rest is down to your ability to go through the questions and work out the logic. Is it clear so far? Some audible response would be
Yes,
good.
sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So that's the, okay, Jane, is it Videsh Kumar?
Hi,
Jane?
sir.
Yes.
Sir,
Yeah.
if we have a link, then also we can follow the same. Like if we have a internet link .html, like in the project, then also we can do the same thing. If
Yeah.
or
So then you have some added complications, right? You have that
okay,
get request, those sorts of libraries you'll have to use, get a response body. But your response body will again get you the. So now I'll pull out the next thing I wanted to show you guys, which is this file. Okay. So when you use a get request, you will end up getting some response like this, right? Hello.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you'll get some response like this. So I'm not going to demonstrate all that because they were covered in other sessions before. Okay, how to do the get request and all. You should just be very comfortable with those again. Um, once you are able to extract the information and get it into a variable, so they have called this HTML doc, you'll get something like this. Then the next step is to parse it. So I didn't show you how to parse these records, but I'll tell you some of the important things about parsing. So the first thing is make sure you've got the right parser in place. Okay, some students run into this problem sometimes. Again, this is all in the documentation for Beautiful Soup. Okay, so please check out that documentation. But let me try and bring it up here. Yeah. So if you look on here, it talks about the parsers. Again, if you are using it on VS Code, make sure you've installed these packages. Don't wait for ROE to find out if your code is working. Okay, prepare these code snippets beforehand and keep them ready. So when ROE comes, you just have to plug and play. Okay, and their recommendation is to use this one, HTML5lib and LXML. So LXML is for XML files and HTML5lib is for HTML files. Those are the recommended ones. So make sure, like when you're parsing XML, use, like you can use this command in Beautiful Soup. So like you can see here, right? I've put this document in here, and then I've put the parser in there. So you can use either of these HTML, depending on what you're parsing. Okay. So the reason I'm not going to specifically show XML is because XML is exactly like HTML. It's just that the tags are different in LXML. Okay. So then once you get the soup, Then you have some tags. Okay, so you can see there are some tags in here. How do you find a tag quickly? Just so this object that is created, this beautiful soup object, you access the tags by just giving the name. So what does this do? It gives you the first, in this case, title tag that it comes across. So it won't give you all the title tags. If there were more than one, it won't give you more than one. It will give you only the first one. So let's pretend that I added one more here. It's not legitimate use of HTML, but it serves our demonstration purposes. So not the title. I don't know if class is valid for this, but let's pretend that it is. Okay, and I run this. Hopefully it works. What did it give you? It still gave you only the first one, right? So remember, you can get a tag, but this will only always return you the first tag. And these tags have two kinds of, how do I say it, attributes. Okay, one is the text inside the tag itself. That's one attribute, and then there is sorry, not two, three, I think. So there are three parts to it. So there is the text inside, there is the actual name of the tag, because the tag might not be named. Okay, so in this case it's called title, but a tag may have other names as well. Okay, so this is the string, that's what's inside, and then it can have some other attributes. So like, for example, this has a attribute of class title, right? So this is a p tag. Again, this will only give you the first p tag it comes across. If you see here, there are many p tags. There's one p tag here, there's another p tag here, but it only gave you the first one. So, and if you want access to that p tag's attributes that are inside the p tag, you know, like this class over here, you can do it using the key that attribute might have. So that's how you can get the details inside there. So the question is then, okay, but HTML files usually have lots of the same type of tag. How do I find all of them? This is the function you use. You use find all, and you put the tag name here. So here I put P, but let's pretend I put A, and look, it got you all the A. And how does it get it? It's a list. So that's great. Lists are fantastic, right? They're easy to work with. So that's what find all does. Find all gives you a list of all those tags that have that sort of thing. Now, again, you have to be very comfortable with iterating through a list. It's a for loop. You go through it. You're able to access the various aspects of it. Be very, very comfortable doing this. Practice it. Try on various sites, even if it's some rubbish, nonsense, useless site. Just try getting to the tags and the class IDs and all that, just using these things that I've shown you. It's very, very straightforward. Okay. Another helpful thing sometimes can be this prettify function. Sometimes you don't, in a very complex piece of HTML, it's difficult to see what's going on. So here I've used body, because body has several tags in it. But let's say, for example, I had some divs inside here. Okay, so I put a div, say over here or something. See, what was I trying to prettify it, right? So yeah, so let's say I had a div here, and I had a div here. Okay, so that's the only div in there. I'll have to run this again, and then create the soup again. And now, if I do this, so notice it got everything inside the div, but it's prettifies it. I know you can't make out, it's because they only space it one step inside, but it's still better than what it was before. So that can help you sometimes to find problems in your file. So you can use that as well. The next thing we'll talk about is, okay, again.
I have a doubt actually. Using Colab with Alt and space bar, we'll get all the syntax whichever it will be there in that particular module. So is there anything like that in Visual Studio?
Sorry, could you repeat that again, please?
In Colab, sir, once we imported some module like Beautiful Soup or something, if we press Control space bar, we'll get all the syntax whichever it is there inside.
Yeah. You mean
Even
autocomplete?
Yeah, autocomplete. So is there like
This,
that anything
yes.
in Visual
Of
Studio?
course. Yeah, it does have it. You have to configure it to do that. So this one has Codium, okay? So if I do like this, right? See, it's already auto-suggesting things. Can you see that?
Yeah.
And it even explains as well. It tells you, okay, these are the things, and these are what it's supposed to be. So it does that. There is autocomplete in here as well, and it even explains everything.
Okay.
So that's
yeah, while writing that code itself, it will automatically
correct.
suggest, right?
Yeah. So it does have autocomplete. Okay. It's
And
very
this is
robust.
faster than Colab actually.
Yes, much faster. It's very, very fast. And then what else? Oh, okay. This reminds me of a very important thing. Something you might not realize. Okay, Colab is great, but when you're under time pressure, imagine there is an internet connectivity problem at that time with your Colab. We have had students in the past where they have uploaded the files, then there was an issue, and they've lost all their work. Right? Again, I'm not trying to say Colab is bad, but these are issues you should be prepared to deal with if that happens to you. And how you mitigate that, I can't really tell you the answer to that. So, I mean, because I don't use Colab regularly, but we know for sure students have had that problem. They've spent time uploading the files, they start working on it. Suddenly something goes wrong, because remember, it's on Google Cloud, right? And then something goes wrong. And then they have to reload the page, and all their work is lost. You've lost all that time. You can't get it back. It doesn't matter for day-to-day work, because day-to-day work you're not like under such pressure, but it might make the difference between you getting some good marks in ROE or not getting any marks at all. So just keep that in mind. Again, I'm not trying to scare anyone from using Colab, okay? But I'm just telling you what has happened in the past. This is why this is my preferred method of doing things, and it works exactly the same as Colab. In fact, in my personal opinion, this is better, but to each one their own. Okay. Right. Shivansh Pandey has raised hand. Okay. Go ahead, Shivansh.
Yes, sir. While trying to practice scraping on the websites, I was following Anand, sir. And the problem that I was facing was basically searching for the tags that have a certain attribute.
Yes.
Searching by attribute. That was what I was facing the most problem in using Beautiful Soup. Is it possible to do that?
Yeah, you can, no? Because I've just shown you here earlier. You can search.
After we have a tag, we can find its attribute, but search a tag by the attribute it has.
Yeah.
So
there is
search it by a definite attribute.
Yes. So you're saying, for example, you want to search like this, right?
Yes, sir. Only search for the p tag which has the class strikeout, for example. All of those that have strikeout.
I'm sure. I'm sure there are lots of clever people here. I want to see if someone can tell me exactly what code would do that, because it's very straightforward. How would you do that? It's just a Pythonic question, really. Can anyone give me a suggestion? Lots of smart people in the room.
This will give the class name.
Yeah. So if you use the class name, he wants to find out by just searching these attributes. So can you tell me how would one go about doing that?
No, we can find all. No?
Correct. So you do a find all, search, pass through the tags, and when you're passing through the tags, whenever you find the attribute that you're looking for inside those tags, you collect those along the way. That's how you do it. Very
Okay,
straightforward.
understood, sir. There isn't
Yeah.
a separate function to do that, sir.
Yeah,
You'll have
but
to iterate through it.
but this is where I said prepare a notebook, right? So what I would do in your place, I would create a function ready to do that job, where I put in an attribute and it's got to parse through the all the tags that are there and pick up all the tags that have that attribute. Perfect,
Yes.
right? Perfect solution.
Yes,
Write a
that's
function. Yeah.
yes, sir. That's perfect. Thank
Don't
you so much, sir.
don't do it during ROE. Do it
Yes,
before
sir.
ROE. Yeah.
I'll get it done today
Yeah.
itself.
See, so that was actually a brilliant question. That was an excellent question. How do we do it? Is there a function to do it? Okay, if there's no function, doesn't matter. You can write your own function. Keep it ready. Then ROE will come. You will just be sailing smoothly, and everyone, will be like, you'll be the boss. So you'll be really, ahead of the game there. So definitely, that's something you can do. Now, as far as Beautiful Soup goes specifically, I have not searched specifically for that question.
No. Carlton, it went before that itself. You scroll up. After the tag, it was attribute. Scroll fully up, no? Like it went. Go, scroll up. Little bit
Here,
fast.
right?
Scroll up. No,
Here, right?
before that. You got tag, then attribute came. It is in the top. One more. This is multi-value attribute. No, before that attributes. Nicely you go. You can go fast. Actually, it was in the star here attributes.
Yeah. So his point was, how do you get this? But it's not difficult, right?
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Attribute ID whose value is boldest. You can access tags attributes by treating the
Correct.
tag like a dictionary or something telling, no?
Yes.
Boldest.
So yeah. So that's what I was going to.
Carlton,
Yeah.
one thing we can do, let's say you want to find the find all thing. So find all, you pass the particular tag name, let's say div or p, and then you can use class underscore and give that specific class name. So
Yes.
it would iterate through all the web page and find all thing. Can you just try it on any, on your test data that you have?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah. Over there,
So,
yeah. In the find all, you see, in the find all,
After
that
P,
P,
then comma, then class
within the
underscore.
brackets, go there. No, within the
Within the
brackets, not the
bracket.
within the
brackets.
brackets.
In the
Okay.
parentheses, yeah. Just give the comma and give the class underscore, any class name, and then run it.
Yeah, it pulls it up.
Yeah, see, it just gives the paragraph tag having
No, you
that
should
particular.
no. You should know
thing
for
only.
that first. For that, you should know it is available in the paragraph tag. No, then only it will come.
Yeah. But he was saying
at least that thing we got to do, right?
No, I don't know in which tag it is there.
Yeah.
That was the question.
One thing you can do again, you don't need the tag. You just give this class name, I guess, or something. You can give that as well, I guess.
So this is the one, right? So it got both your tags, and it has a title attribute in there.
So can we do this without the P tag and only with the class?
Not sure. But this is something you can experiment, right? Yeah, actually it pulled it up.
It pulled the same thing.
Yeah. See?
I told
what
you,
I
right?
meant was,
Sir, please edit that HTML and add this class title with some other tag. Then it will help.
Okay. I
Understand.
mean, we can put another one.
One thing after
No,
that.
without P tag. With a div.
Yeah, I mean it's got to be in.
Give
it's
anchor or give div.
Yeah. Okay.
Then class title, yes. No, title like itself, sir. The same title. No, sir. I am about to ask like the same class will extract
you
the P and the
mean,
div tag.
I
Both,
see. I see what you mean. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Actually, I didn't do the soup part.
Without doing soup, you want to
Yeah.
drink it.
Yeah, I got it. So because the div contained other things, right? So
Mhm.
this is part of the div tree. So yeah, it pulled it. Yeah.
Great.
So it's possible, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So there's no issues. Okay. So I won't go more detail into this. Like I said, there have been other scraping sessions that TAs have done, but I wanted you guys to at least have the fundamentals, because these are fundamentals, right? If you know these fundamentals really well, you can solve any problem, correct? Someone say yes, please.
Yes. 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 Absolutely.
Okay.
Waiting for
Okay.
my chat GPT to answer.
Oh, right. So right. So okay. So that's about extraction. So if you know how to extract the data from your tags and you're very comfortable, again, see, don't use complicated examples to begin with. Okay. Don't you go to some very difficult website, because you have to be comfortable with using these functions. So you don't want to waste a lot of time uh, trying to parse a very difficult website as practice. Parse something simple, understand how to do it quickly. Once you understand and you're very comfortable with using it, then you can give a try on a complicated site. But become comfortable with the tool, because that's where the speed is. Okay. If you try to parse something that's difficult, you will waste a lot of time working out the structure of the site rather than practicing the tool. So use this tip to practice the tool. Once you're comfortable with using the tool and you don't have to even use chat gpt for the tool, you will be able to then be able to parse more complicated things. Okay. Now xml is exactly the same. Okay. This is instead of this html head, body and all that, xml will just have their own tags with their own names. So how to parse xml? Exactly the same as parsing html. Only thing is, instead of giving title or something, it might be some other tag. So let's pretend it's so let me change this parser and call it lxml. Okay. Now what Beautiful Soup will think is that this is no longer html. It will think this is xml, because it makes no difference to xml. Okay. There are some slight differences. xmls, for example, we cannot have multiple attributes within a particular I forget the technical term for these things are. Okay. But like class can't have story space something. That's not, so it won't have like story intro, it cannot have. It will have only story, for example. So those are some minor rules. Don't worry about that. But otherwise, it's exactly the same as XML. Okay. So if I do this using XML, again, same things will turn up, even though this is now parsing it as XML. So if I had changed this, okay, and XML, you can use any tag. Okay, let's call it Carlton tag or something. Okay. So close the tag. So they still follow the rules of opening and closing tags. Okay. So that's there. Notice no errors. It parsed it, and let's call this tag. And look at that. It pulled it out, right? So XML is exactly the same as HTML parsing. If you can parse HTML, you should be able to parse XML. But remember to make sure that your parser knows what's going on. Okay. All clear? Someone say something.
Yes.
Clear, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. No doubts, right?
No doubts.
Okay. Great. That means you guys are learning. Fantastic. Okay. Now the next thing. So you know how to deal with HTML and XML files. Okay. So next thing is, okay. Yeah. Let's do one of these now. And again, make a snippet. And what should your snippet have? Only these things: pandas, SQL Alchemy. Why you need SQL Alchemy is to create the connection engine, and then use this command connection engine, and just read up the documentation on this. Okay, like how you can connect to different types of databases. In ROE, I think they almost always specify what kind of database it is. So as long as you know what it is, you just create the connection engine, and then you use this command. So this PD comes from here, okay, for those of you that didn't realize. So it's read SQL table is the command. The only thing is you'll need to know what tables are inside the DB to be able to get the table up. It's very unlikely they will give you complicated schemas, because there's no time to deal with complicated schemas. So most likely you'll get something simple enough, but still something you'll have to work on. Someone is message. Can you query? Are we going to learn Power BI in this subject? I think it comes in a later week or something. Not sure. But for the purpose of ROE, no, there's no Power BI for ROE. Shri Vidya, do you have a question?
Yeah, basically, I have been working only on Google Colab. So just now,
Okay.
I just opened up this Visual Studio, and it looks completely different from what your screen looks. So, what is the additional add-on that would be needed for
Okay,
running
so
of this?
so when you say it looks different, is it just the color themes
No,
or?
I do not have the code at all. I only starts with file edit and then
Okay,
the
okay,
remaining part of
yeah.
it.
So you need some extensions.
Mm-hmm.
The extensions. So I think don't worry about these extensions. So one thing that will be helpful is Codium, because that's like AI autocomplete. Okay, I'll demonstrate that as well. That's actually a good time to demonstrate this. So this is a cool thing about Codium. Okay, let's say you want to do something and you don't know how to do it. You put this comment tag here, and you tell Codium now what you want to do. I want to extract business table
And this thing is
from.
common among all the AI coding engines, right?
Yeah, sure. But there may be people here who don't know that, right?
Yeah, no, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Oh, sorry, I didn't select the kernel. Yeah. So, oh wait, this is a Python piece of code. So I do that, right? And then the next thing is it will start to suggest some things to me. Okay. Okay, in this case, it already knows what to do, so that's why it's kind of confused. But this is basically what you do. You give it a prompt, and then it will start auto suggesting things to do. And usually it'll give you like more than just one piece of code. It'll give you like several lines of code. It'll be like a whole function sometimes. So that's how you use Codium, okay? And it also, as you're typing, it'll auto suggest as well. So that's one extension to use. Another useful extension to view your data, like if it's a CSV file or something like that, a tabular data, this data wrangler is useful. So you can get that extension. The next extension that you must have, these are just good to have, but next extension is, of course, you can get these IntelliCode, that's no problem. This is important, Jupyter, because that's what enables all this Google Colab style code to work. So Jupyter, if you get this, it'll pull like 4 extensions that are part of it. So just get this one. It'll pull all the necessary things for Jupyter Notebook, because that's what Google Colab is. Google Colab is effectively a Jupyter Notebook. Will Codium work even if you lost internet connection? No, Codium does not work when you lose internet connection. But if you've lost internet connection, you won't be able to answer the ROE either, right? so, so that's that. Then the next useful thing will be this one, Pylance and Python. Make sure you get these extensions for your, these 3 extensions for your VS Code. Then this is also very useful, SQL Lite Viewer. Get this as well, because you will be able to view SQL files. So I'll show you an example. So this one, okay. This is just a sample database I pulled out for restaurants. But see, because I have that SQL viewer, I don't even have to connect to it using the pandas commands. I can just look at the file directly, and it gives you all the tables. So this only had one table. because I am using this for demonstration, but you can pull the file straight away. And the beauty of this, now this is really good, okay? You can even start using filters right over here itself. If I type like SAN, look at that, it all shows up. It automatically starts filtering the table directly. So this is very useful, okay? SQL viewer, it's called. So you can directly view the data. You can see here, it's got 5 stars, and I think it's 1.1 million reviews or downloads or something. Okay, anyway, but it's very, 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 very handy. This SQLite viewer, it's called. Okay, I think that's it. Those are the useful extensions to download for VS Code.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay, great. Right. So back to where we were. Next is how to deal with like SQL files. So yeah, learn how to create the connection, and then read the table out of it. And then once you read the table out of it, you can. All right, I didn't run these. Run these. And you can see you get the data frame that we are seeing in SQLite viewer. Now you can do whatever processing you want to do. So there was a session we had conducted, I think it was like week 2 or week 3, where I talked about how to do filtering. So for example, an important type of filtering might be df dot is any. That means find the rows that have null values in it. Yeah, so you put that, if you encapsulate it in a data frame, and you can see these rows have null values in it. Or if you can even, now you can encapsulate that, or say you don't want those. If you don't want those, you say not. So now I just put this tilde in front of it, and all the rows that had nothing in it, I wanted the opposite of it. I want rows that definitely have values in it. So now it's showing me the rows that has values. Simple things like this, filters, basic filters. There was a session we had done on these. So make sure you can do those basic filtration, basic mapping, all those sorts of things. There was a session on. Make sure you, again, don't use something complex. Complexity is not going to help you learn. Being very familiar and fast with your tool, that will help you. So once you're very comfortable and fast with applying filters on various sorts of things, and you can do it rapidly. So also you can chain filters, okay? That's another thing. You can put more than one filter. So you can do and. So and is done this way, okay? It's not the keyword and. And you can also use or. Or is this pipe symbol. So
These are
pipe
the
symbol.
bitwise operators.
Yeah. So all these operators, just be comfortable with chaining these, because that will help save you time as well. So if you want to chain a couple of conditions, but be careful, okay, when you're using them. Sometimes it's easy to get the wrong logic when you're chaining them. In that case, just use them one at a time and see if you're getting the result that you're expecting. So be very comfortable with doing that. And this data frame is not only for the SQL, okay? This is, if remember, when we extracted data from these, they will also be in a data frame. So at that point, you will do the processing. And I highly recommend using pandas for any kind of processing you want to do. That doesn't mean you can't use something else, okay? Some people use SQL. They are very comfortable with SQL commands. So that's a powerful tool, actually. If you know how to use SQL commands, feel free to go ahead and use it. You can say things like select, city equal to San Francisco or something like, sorry, select city from the table business where postal code is equal to 94104. You can do that. It's a powerful way of writing a query in very few words. So it's very fast, because if you think about it, others I'd have to write a whole filter for this, write a whole filter for that. But in SQL, you just put it in like literally like a few words, and you can write an SQL command that does it. So you can query a pandas data frame with SQL, okay? That's also possible. But I am not going deep into that because we are not expecting students to do that. In the sense that it's usually for a DBMS course, right? So that's why I'm not going to talk about that in detail. I don't want to scare students more by giving them more information of a tool that's powerful but difficult to learn. So, but you can use SQL with data frames. Okay. That's the next thing. So any queries or questions so far?
So just for in the same continuation of your feedbacks for the project, we have given some state and AC name. So do we need to convert it into PDF and then we need to parse, or can we do without converting into PDF and just filter and because there is a very big files when we see only for Kerala state. So there are 8 to 10 files only for Kerala state. Then how can we search for the AC name in all the 10 files? Because we have to go, or can we do it in one code, or we have to do it
Yeah.
10
So
times?
yeah.
10
So the that's why I was showing you how to get through. So let me just share my screen again. That's why I was talking. The first thing I talked about in today's session was about uh, parsing through entire files, right? I don't know. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So you would have like multiple files, right? Like say 50 files or 10 files, like your Kerala state or something. You'll have many HTML files, right? Correct?
Correct, sir.
Hello?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
sir.
So then the next thing was I showed you how to deal with iterating through them, right? So this is how you iterate through them. You request the file in your project. You request them one by one. You'll get 10 files for Kerala. Each file will be an entry in there, and then once you got the names of the file, all you have to do is load the file, right? You load the file by reading the file. So file.read, and then once you're able to read each file in the loop, then you're able to extract the information using HTML extract, because each one will be given a variable, right? Each of those files that you pulled out.
Yes. So we don't need to convert it into PDF as such,
No,
like
no,
not
no, no,
compulsory.
no, absolutely not. In fact, doing that is a waste of time, I would say.
Okay,
Yeah.
understood. So we just need to request file one by one, and then we need to entry and then load file.
Yeah, load the file, each file that you get, load it into a variable like this, and then parse it. Very straightforward and very quick as well.
Okay,
The
load
important thing
like
is,
when we can sorry, when we select a Kerala, then the file which we get it on the top, that is the HTML file. So dot
yeah,
HTML that we need to
yes,
that we need to load. Okay.
load those
Yes.
files, yeah, one by one from the loop, from your list that you get.
Oh.
So that's why I told that's a good skill to have. How do you iterate through a list of files? Just by using this kind of code. You get a
Thank you.
file list, and then you're able to read them one by one, right, in a for loop. And then each beautiful, convert each one that you read into a beautiful soup object, and then parse it for this constituency name that you're looking for.
Got it.
Yeah. Again, same thing will happen in ROE. You'll get lots of data, you'll get lots of files, or maybe you'll get a link to a site which has lots of files or whatever it is, and same process. Get comfortable with the process. That's the key to ROE. Get comfortable with the process. Be fast in the process. Then the solving part is simple. This is where most people fail. These things. That's why I keep saying about it. Okay. I hope this session has so far been useful to you guys, right? That I'm
Yes.
not telling you things that are, boring or something.
No, sir, it was really useful.
Okay. Next thing. So again, there was a session on Parquet files. I'm not going to talk about Parquet files because it's the same process. You load the Parquet file. The important thing with Parquet file is you need, again, make a snippet ready in your Colab or wherever you're going to use VS Code. Make a snippet that has the dependency for Parquet file, which is PyArrow, PYARROW. make sure that you can read Parquet files. There's a good example in week 3 assignment, I think it was. Make sure that you're able to read that file without any issues. Again, the whole point is put it in a pandas data frame, and then you are scot free. You're really going to be able to move forward from that point. Okay, let me have a quick look at my notes here.
Sir, do we need to submit? Where do we answer these questions?
So they will, so they will be on the portal. There will it'll be just like similar to a GA where you will be answering MCQ questions. So you will just have to select the right answer there and do it that way.
Okay.
So just give me a second. I just want to pull up my notes that I made for what we want to cover. Sorry, I've got like several things that I'm looking at here. Okay, yeah. So HTML, XML. Okay, then we covered Parquet database. JSON files. We had a session on JSON files. The structure of JSON is simple. They are basically these square bracket things with key value pairs, right? So it's basically like a dictionary. So that's what a JSON file is like. We had a session that we had conducted on those. Again, be comfortable passing JSON files. It's very simple, so I don't think I need to demonstrate that today, right? And you can always look it up. Does anyone desperately need me to show how a JSON file looks? I hope not. Yes, no. Yes, no, maybe, I don't know. Can you repeat the question? Okay. Right. Okay. PDFs. Okay. PDFs, there are three things. Tabular. There's the tabular library. Again, there is a notebook available on.
Sir, you're unable to share that screen, sir. You're not sharing screen.
Right. Yeah. Right now, at the moment, I'm not sharing the screen because I'm looking at the notes I want to cover. But with regards to PDFs, there is Tabular, and there is importing into Excel, and there is I Love PDF. I Love PDF is a website. Amit has covered it in one of his earlier TA sessions. I recommend you watch
Sir,
that.
in Tabula, there is one like we have to give a parameter where the borders of the table we have to mention in like pixels or something like that. So is it necessary to mention it that way, or like what is the way to proceed with that if we have to actually mention the like the session that I watched on YouTube, which was there in the course portal. So in that, he's mentioning like you can use Photoshop or something to view the borders of the tables. Like what are the pixels?
Here's a good tip I'll give you. You will not encounter something that complicated. The reason being that would be very difficult to test students on in ROE.
Okay.
What you might get is something along the lines of, I think there was a graded assignment with PDFs in it.
Yeah. I didn't do that properly. That's why I don't have any idea about it. Sorry.
Yeah. So that PDF was fairly straightforward, I think, for most students. In fact, I believe I personally took a session on that one. I think earlier, I think week 2 or something. Can someone confirm that for me, please?
Yes.
Yeah, was TA session, yeah.
Yeah. So so one of those TA sessions.
One doubt, like,
yeah,
regarding the PDF, will we require like Excel, or it is like, have you encountered anything that will have to use Excel, like something?
Okay.
You
So
can
I'll
do
give you personal experience from the past. So last term there was a PDF scraping, okay, and I failed miserably at that because what I did was I tried to do it in Excel. but the file was not clean enough that Excel didn't know what to do. So what we have found out is that it is better. In fact, it is not better. It is actually probably the best thing to do is not to give students things that require Excel, because not everybody has Excel. So if you're going to give you something, it will be something that everyone has tools. So like Google Sheets, anything that works in those are the only things we would give. So it won't be anything that uses Excel. The reason we teach Excel is because ultimately the course is to teach you a skill that you will use in life. But ROE won't test you using Excel itself as a package.
Okay, sir.
Okay. But if you are able to use Excel, again, there's no limitation on ROE. You can use whatever tool you find you're happy to use.
Yeah, so you were continuing about PDF. Sorry, I interrupted you in between.
Yeah. So
Again,
PDFs.
I'll just add on one thing, Carlton.
Sure,
This
sure.
IO PDF, it's not only to convert to Excel, you can convert to anything like CSV also you can convert. So once you
Okay,
convert,
that's
you
good.
can use your pandas.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for the suggestion. That's great. Yeah, I love PDF is a great site. So again, you try an example. Okay, make a Word document and export it as a PDF, and means make a tabular Word document. Okay, when I say we make a Word document, make a tabular PDF in that, and then try I love PDF and see if it can get the table back into like a CSV format or something. So practice that. So you know, okay, this is how I use this tool. So be comfortable with it. Tabula is good at clean PDFs. So if you are going to give you like PDFs, it will be more like the ones that were in week 2 graded assignment. So try and use Tabula for those sorts of things. Again, be comfortable with the tool. That's the whole point. If you're comfortable with the tool, you'll have speed. If you have speed, speed is life in ROE. So that's what it is. Speed is life also on a battlefield, but that's a different issue. Okay.
One more doubt, like, is there like optional questions, or like we'll have like fixed number of questions that we have to attend, or we can
No, no optional questions. Sorry.
No, if there are 17 questions and we could finish only 10, 7 are optional.
Yeah, no optional questions. Again, I'm not. I mean, I can't say for sure. Okay, it's not because at the end of the day, it's up to the professor to decide if something is optional or not. So maybe there might be, but it's very. I've not seen so far. I've never seen any
optional as in like we have 10 questions. We can pick and choose 7, and we'll get the full marks. Like, is there a way to?
No. I've never ever seen that in ROE. Never.
One more
Okay,
thing.
that's an important strategy, by the way. When you get the ROE, don't straight away start working on the first question that you see. Okay, I know it's very tempting. There's very little time, but please, at least once you extract the files, look at the file set that you have, what all files you have. Think immediately about. So this is a strategy I'm telling you. Okay, think immediately about what you can extract quickly. Okay, once you've decided, okay, these files I can extract quickly, then look at the question set. When you look at the question set, find the questions that deal with the files that you can extract quickly. Now, having said that, some questions are going to be complex. That's just the nature of it. They will involve using more than a few files together. So, of course, that will be more challenging. But any low, so this is an English phrase, I'm not sure if you understand this phrase, but it's called get the low hanging fruit first. Why? Because it's easy. If you think of an apple tree, don't try and put a ladder and straight away go to the top. Okay, it's time consuming, dangerous, lots of stretching involved and all that sort of thing, right? If you pick the low hanging fruit first, in other words, go for the easy questions first, the ones that you believe are easy, you'll at least get some marks, and the rest you can guess. Who knows, maybe this time someone might get 100 in ROE by solving, like, at least 80% of the questions that they were good at, and 20% they guessed, and they guessed right. So who knows,
Sir,
maybe that might be possible.
that's what my question was. Sir, will there be different question or different data set or only one data set and then say all the questions from one data set?
No, there will be many files, many, has been the case every ROE. There are many files, and the files contain different kinds of information in them, and some questions may target certain files, some question might target a combination of files, some questions may target a single file. It can be anything. There's no, I can't say it's going to be this or that.
Okay.
Again, these are not that important. The takeaway from today's session, if you had any, is learn to extract any kind of data from any kind of file. Second is put it into a okay, sorry, let me go one step back. Learn to iterate through any sets of files that you have. Second is learn to extract information from those files, be very comfortable with those. Third is put them into a pandas data frame if you can. And fourth is then dealing with filtrations and conditions, dealing with basic things like nulls and all that sort of basic things. Learn to do that quickly and fast. Learn on a simple data set. I'll give you a good resource to practice on. This is one of many. Okay, this is just what you call for it. This site, relationaldata.org. Here there are all sorts of data sets you can practice on. Okay, you can choose one of these and practice on it. Then you will be able to try out these things that we did today. Same with HTML. Take some simple HTML. Yeah, if you can't think of simple HTML, just ask ChatGPT to make some. You know, this file I was showing you earlier, these. I didn't make these files. I actually, what I did is I told
Sir,
HTML.
you are not sharing screen, sir.
Oh, sorry.
So can you share the link also, because I'm unable to find the chat.
Okay. So this site, I'll put it in the chat box. Oops. So you can get some practice databases there that you can try on. But even this, okay. What I did is I told ChatGPT, hey ChatGPT, generate some random HTML files for me to practice on, basically. And so I got these files and it created these files for me. So now I can practice scraping on this, right? I know it looks simple, but the purpose is to become comfortable with the tool, right? If you are proficient with the tool, then the complexity doesn't matter. But being proficient is what's going to save you. So that's my advice. And was there something else I was saying before that? I don't remember.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, could you please show us the extensions once again?
Okay. So some of the useful extensions you will need will be this codium. Remember, the spelling has to be correct. Okay, this spelling is important. CODEIUM. There are many copycats that are trying to go off the back of the success of this, but they are not. At best they are not as good. At worst, there could be some malicious code in them. So make sure you are using the correct extension. Someone messaged something. Okay, yeah, good. Yeah, that's right, Aditya. Data Wrangler, it's in the chat window. Jupyter, Pylance, Python, SQLite Viewer, and you can add Codium to that as well. Those are the, I would say, essential ones. When you get Jupyter, there will be, so like, I go down here, Jupyter. When you get this, it automatically pulls 4 extension packs, all that will work. So don't use like these ones, right? These will automatically get pulled. Just look for Jupyter itself, this word that you see here, and then it will automatically pull the necessary things along with it. You can also use this IntelliCode. That's also useful. It's like an AI assisted thing. And then yeah, Pylance, Python. I think if you select Python, it probably pulls all of them. I'm not sure. But just in case, you get Python, but also get Pylance. Okay? Pylance is like an extension that helps with writing Python code. So just get both of these. It's basically it's a kind of thing that checks for errors and things of that sort. So
Alton,
yeah.
For the Jupyter, only 3 I got. The fourth one it did not install. What are the 4 ones? Can you tell me?
So there's it'll pull Jupyter. So it'll pull Jupyter itself, Jupyter key map, Jupyter notebook renderers, Jupyter slideshow, and Jupyter cell tags. That's what it will pull.
Okay. All are there. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then, and I'll tell you one thing: once you become comfortable with VS Code, no, you'll almost never go back to Google Colab after that. Right. Then SQLite Viewer. This is very useful as well. Okay. So if you get those, then that'll be fine. Yeah, Videsh, you can use Anaconda, Jupyter Lab, whatever you feel comfortable with. I've just told you the ones I use and I am
Okay, sir.
quite happy with.
Okay, because I used Anaconda for all my projects. So.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. No, not an issue at all. Some people don't also use VS Code. They use Jupyter itself has its own notebook software. So
Yes.
you can use that also. Basically, anything that helps you work offline locally on your computer will be faster, and you will not lose your work midway for any reason. So, okay. I think it's 10 o'clock now. There are still some things I want to cover, but let me just quickly look at my notes here. So, okay. Pandas. This is another thing. Okay, we won't be able to cover it today, but next session, which is tomorrow, we'll cover some of the other things that are remaining, and maybe we'll go through some snippets that you can keep handy in your notebook as well. But yeah, make sure you write some functions that do some basic processing, like I don't know who it was earlier who suggested it or asked a question, and we came up with the conclusion that a function that does that job is a good idea. So just do that. Write snippets and keep it ready. Train ChatGPT models. That's another good thing, but that was covered by Amit. So you get a ChatGPT, train it on, use a single chat, what do you call it, chat window, or what you call it. Don't make a new chat every time. Always, with your code snippet, use the same chat as a continuation, because ChatGPT has memory, and then it trains itself on what you're trying to do. So when you begin to ask it questions in ROE, it's already trained and knows what the context is, and so it's ready to answer your questions more accurately and quickly. Okay. Shivani, go ahead.
Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah.
Would the password of the zip file you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
would it be provided during ROE?
Yes, it will be provided just before ROE starts.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Shivansh, yes, please.
Thanks the
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Sorry. What time we have to sit in for? Wait for this. Like exactly 8 o'clock. Like 2-3 minutes before we have to be in the system, or how it goes. We were supposed to tell that.
Okay. I'm not entirely sure of the mechanics. Amit will probably cover that in this next session.
Okay.
So may I ask you that question?
One second. There's a message here, Surya. Sir, can you please reply? If we have to do LLM question ROE, should we use the API key? Yes, definitely. Yeah, good point. I completely forgot about that. It was in my notes also. So for ROE, you're almost guaranteed to get a question that involves LLM using the LLM API. Why I say that? because it should be obvious, because they are going to reset all the tokens for that day. In other words, they will refill your token quota. That's a very strong indication that there's almost certainly going to be an LLM question that hits the API. So make sure you're comfortable with the, see, it's not difficult, okay? We covered it in our last couple of sessions. Make sure you're comfortable with, for example, costings of LLM, simple things like that. Make sure you're comfortable with what's it called, data extraction from LLM. It won't be something that will take you hours to solve, okay? It will be something straightforward for an ROE, I would say.
Sir, one question, like when the question is about token used for particular text.
Yeah.
So then which token we are talking about actually? Is it about the OpenAI tokens which we can get by OpenAI website by putting text in it, or is it the token when we put in our model? And
yeah, no, yeah, I'm
use the
talking about
usage?
the, yeah, I'm talking, when I say token, I mean the, they give you an allowance and you have to use a token key.
No. I'm asking like this particular amount of tokens will be used.
Yeah,
It
so
gives
what
the,
happens? Yeah, so what happens is when they give you that key, there is an allowance that you have. Okay, it's
yeah, that is
50
for
cents.
5 cents, 50 cents. Yeah, that is okay.
Yeah.
It is not about that. It is about like there will be a question. There can be a question like it can give a text, and for this text, which how
How
much
many?
tokens will be
Oh, how
used?
many tokens? Yeah.
Yes. So
But
there is
that
an
was easy.
ambiguity like
But yeah, but that's easy, right? That you just stick it into that
Tokenizer.
AI. Yeah.
yeah.
And
But tokenizer is giving different tokens, and model is giving different tokens.
it will be
So
specified. If they ask a question, they will make sure that it's something that's testable. So
yeah,
there will not be ambiguity.
yeah, that is my question actually, because I have tried it and there is an ambiguity like model is saying this much token
Yeah.
used for input, and
Yes. There will be different results depending on what you
yeah.
use. That is true. But what I mean is, in ROE, there will be very specific direction. They will say, like, for example, use only this method or whatever. So
Okay.
you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
It will be very specific because it has to be testable, right? If it's not testable, we can't ask that question.
Yes. Okay.
So that's something. And the third thing was embeddings, I think it was, isn't it? If I remember correctly. Let me just quickly look at
Yeah,
what was told.
embeddings.
Yeah. So make sure you have the snippets ready in your little notebook that you have kept ready for this ROE, and make sure you can find the snippets quickly also. Okay, don't stuff it in some huge super giant file that you can't find it when you need it. Okay, maybe one suggestion I can give you is maybe I can show this quickly. I know it sounds silly, and but when you are under pressure, lots of things go wrong. So what you can do is, let's say, for example, you've got imagine this is your snippets file. Okay, there are two things here: code and markdown. Just press this markdown button and make some keywords like say this is, for example,
Beautiful
to do
soup.
with beautiful soup. Okay. So you don't even have to put the full word, but let's say that's what you got. Okay, so now when you want to find it, you can just do a find and say beautiful, and you can quickly get down to it wherever it is. Okay, and then okay, there's the snippet. This is the stuff I need to use for my ROE straight away. Keep that ready. It's a simple thing, but these things can save you lots of time from searching up and down in a big file. So do that. So same way for the LLMs, take all the little snippets of code. Don't copy paste the whole LLM into your that whole big giant code. That's not going to be useful to you. Keep only the bits that are valuable, that will help you solve the problem straight away, because those are just learning tools, so they show a lot of things in there, but keep the key things in there. Yeah.
Actually, I mean, since it's being recorded still, we are going back to our school days where we used to have cheats.
Yes. I mean, this
And
is
we have to
yeah,
have a
exactly.
master cheat to know where all the cheats are there.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a good analogy. But definitely do that. Make sure your cheat sheet is organized and you can find the information on it quickly. Practice with your cheat sheet. That sounds like a silly thing to do, but again, in the heat of the moment, because you are practiced with your cheat sheet, you will be able to locate the resource quickly. These are all little tips and tricks that will help you. Speed is life.
One suggestion I would want to give, like download all your collab files and open it in your VS Code. It will be accessible faster actually.
Yes. Yeah. Download all the collab into VS Code. Yes, definitely. That's a good tip. But again, if your code files are huge and if you can't find the information you're looking for, then it's not going to, it's going to create more problems than it will solve, right? So whatever you're keeping handy, make sure you can find it quickly and practice, do a dry test run of locating things and solving things. Yes, Shivansh, go ahead.
Yes, sir. The link that you had shared of relationaldata.org,
Yeah.
actually, every time I open a data set on it,
Yeah.
it only tells me how to access it using SQL Workbench. How do we download it? Is there some way?
Yeah. That's a very easy way. I mean, let me see if I have it here. It's a simple, like 2-3 lines of code only. I'll show it. In fact, I'll take, even though we are gone past time, I'll show this so that you are able to try.
Thank you, sir.
Just give me a second here while I just get this set up. So the only things you need to be able to access that site, you need this code. Oops. And you need, so over here, you just need to change this last bit depending on the data set. So remember I showed you earlier, like you need this pandas, SQL Alchemy and an engine.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. So for the relational database, right, if you just change this last bit to the data set you're looking at. So say for example, let's say it's this accidents one. You see it says accidents here?
Yes, sir.
Just copy that into here. And then you can run the code. I have to select the code here. Play. Okay, what's the error? Oh, the table is wrong. Let me go back here. So this is the other thing you have to change. You have to, so I'm trying to read a particular table from that database, right? So if I go here, you can see there are 3 tables.
Yes, sir.
Ozeba, some Nesreka, and whatever this is, right? So let's say it's this one. I want all the records from this table. I go select star. So this is count, but you can even just make it select star. So count means just tells you how many rows are there. Okay. But if you say select star, this is an SQL command. You say select star, and actually I'll stick this in a data frame. Okay. If I say select star, I'll get all the records of that. Okay, let me just check before I do that how big this data set is. This might end up in. Oh no, that's too huge. Okay, I'm not going to. I'm not going to pull that data. It's
no problem, sir. No problem.
Yeah. But this is how you do it. Okay, you put the data set name here, and you say what table you want to pull, store it in a data frame, and then once, I mean, that's how I got this data. You know, the one I was showing you earlier, this San Francisco data. That's exactly what I did. I ran that command. I told get the table called business from there, stick it in a data frame, and then I got this table. That's what it is. And because this is only like 64 pages of data, I mean, I know it's a lot, but still, you know, it was pretty straightforward. But that's how you do it. Okay, it's just using this
So
code.
is it fair to assume that in a SQL database you'll have only one table, or
No, I mean, they can be more than one table, right? You'll have to
but
put them in separate.
that would assume that you need to know a SQL query.
Yes, that's true. What I would say is you need to know basic SQL queries. I would not say you need to know complicated ones.
Okay.
So joins and all is very unlikely. Because I know
Carlton, there
that's,
is one thing.
yeah.
There is one thing. Let's say there are 2 tables or 3 tables, for example.
Yes. Yeah.
And first table is connected to the second, and second is
Yes.
connected to the third. So if I gotta
Correct.
connect the first and third, then I have to connect all the 3 tables using the foreign key constraint and all that, right? So that's
Yes.
not basic, in my opinion. Basic is
Yes,
like what
yes,
you're
that,
trying to show right
yeah.
now.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example of what might, I'm not saying this will be there or not there, I don't know, okay. But I'll give you an example of what could be there. So you could, for example, have 2 tables, okay. And then the question is, the join is a fairly simple join. But you don't have to do the join in SQL. You can actually do the join in Pandas data frame. What you do is you extract the table. Yes, correct. And what you do is when you use the concat, you actually can also specify a parameter. You can say join on this column. So then what it will do is it will try to match up all the entries from one data frame to the other data frame based on the values in that column. That you can do. Very simple. That's a simple join. It will create a third data frame for you, which has the joined information. And then you can run your usual filters on it. So that's simple, right? Hello? There's deathly silence now.
No.
Yes,
It's
sir.
okay.
The
Fine.
Okay.
science question just gave me another doubt, I would say. I just wanted to ask you, there will be multiple tables and we won't know looking at the database name what tables are going to be there, and the select query will only work if we use the exact table name with the exact case. So how is there, what code do we use to find what tables are there in that database?
Yeah, there is, I don't remember off the top of my head because normally we usually know the schema ahead of time. But what we'll do is next session we'll give you the command for it, and something you can look up even on ChatGPT, right? We are not the only source of fountain of
Yes,
knowledge
sir.
for you guys, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
just look up
Actually,
the, yeah.
just practicing, we had the DBMS course. So,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we had another DBMS course in our college. So we used different IDEs. One was Postgre, one was MySQL, and the code for finding which tables are there was different in both of them.
But that is, but SQL is not dependent on the code, right? I mean, that's just different tools for the database, right? SQL will still be the
Yes,
same
sir.
for both of them. So what you do is in ChatGPT, you can just ask, what's the SQL command for finding all the tables in a database? It will tell you.
All right, sir. I'll search for it.
And try
Thank
it
you.
out. And then next session, you can tell us.
Sure,
So
sir.
you should attend next session, okay, Shivansh, where I'm going to make a note of your name. You have to give us the answer next session.
Sure, sir. I'll be there.
Okay. Okay, good.
And thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, guys. I think that's probably enough for today. There is still some things we have to cover because, like I said, there are some more details, probably like LLMs and all. We'll go over again because that's fairly new for a lot of people. So we'll go over some of those things and they'll be covered in the next session. Hope today's session was beneficial to you, and I hope that we have given you hope. I hope that you have received hope today, and I believe that you guys can do it. I think so. If you do what I've told you, I think you'll be able to get decent marks in ROE.
Thanks, Alter.
Okay. I'm going to stop recording now, and if you want to ask anything, you can ask. So, but I'm not going to be revealing any secrets or anything. Okay, so just so that you know.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, those weekly live session collab notebook or like Jeopardy notebook, where we can find those?
The ones we did during the TA sessions,
Yeah.
we don't share those because
Or
the whole idea behind those sessions are TDS is valuable only if you practice it yourself. So that's why even during those sessions, often we construct those notebooks on the fly only, and we don't give them to students because we found that that's not helpful to students. They don't really learn. They just use them as plug and play solutions, and then don't really learn how to develop solutions on their own.
and sir, what about those which we are having in the lectures which are already pre-recorded?
Yeah, yeah, you can, those you can have, yeah, no problem. In fact, we encourage you to take some of the code from there. But again, if you just copy paste it, you're going to find it. This is my personal perspective. In ROE, if you do that, many students who did that found it difficult because they could not, first of all, they didn't take the time to understand it. And if they had understood it, they would have realized that most of the code is useless. There are only some 2 or 3 cells that are actually valuable in that. And if you take those cells and keep them in a notebook, then I can say that that was worth it. That exercise is worth it.
Like sir, we did the graded assignments for the weeks. So those code which we have used for completing our weekly assignment, will those be helpful in any way?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of the functions you
Yeah.
designed for them,
Yeah.
they would be helpful, right? Some extraction function you might have written,
Yes.
or
Yes.
some. So yeah, put whatever you think will be helpful to you.
Okay. 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 Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, I'm stopping recording now.